Okay, welcome to the evening of our retreat. I'm going to bring us back into the time of the Buddha, the Buddha's Parinirvana, and just at the end of this, in about 30 minutes or less, we will have a mantra and then just an open sitting with the Buddha. Whatever way you feel you want to do that, and then we'll have a 10-minute break, and then we'll have a puja, and after that. Okay, so making yourselves comfortable, sitting back on your chair or in your meditation posture, or lying on your bed, whatever, and let us journey back to India. Journey to India. Before we go back 2,500 years ago, let us look at India in my time. The big image that comes to me is the sun in the sky, the trees of the Buddha land where the Buddha gained enlightenment and went into Parinirvana. I happened to spend some months there in that area in a yoga ashram and walked the land and connected to the atmosphere. And what struck me most about it is the vastness of the space, but also the forest-like, tree-like structures in different places. The heat, the real, seriously hot sun, and the poverty. People were poor. But as we travel back 2,500 years ago to the same place, the Buddha is in an India that is not poor. It is tribal in structure where he is. There are clans that are better off than others. There are feuds and disagreements, just like they are today, about you have more than me, I want what you have, all the usual things that human beings fight over. But the Buddha is now old. He's weary, as he says to his friend and cousin Ananda. He's weary in body because his body is getting old. He was born into a human body, but his mind is crystal clear because he's a Buddha. So as him and the bhikkhus and bhikkhunis are walking in the forest on the way to Kusinara, he says to Ananda, I want to lie down. And this is a good spot where we're going. The forest is dense and beautiful. The foliage of the trees are present and open. The people are warm. And many is a time we have traveled in this vicinity. And we have, with our bowls, we have collected food to eat. So we have been nourished by these people. I am so grateful to go to this spot and lie and enter Parinirvana. So Ananda says, well, Master, yes, I understand what you're saying, but you are the Tathagata. You should be in a great city, Benares or somewhere else. Kings and queens have knelt before you. You have brought the teachings all over India, northern India. People want to revere you. So we come to this small spot. Who will revere you? And the Buddha says, this is the province of the Mallas. These are good people. They will come. They will come and I will receive them. Go and tell them I am entering into Parinirvana, and come, and may all the clans come, and I will see all the clans. I am happy to be here. This is where I want to be my final place before I enter into Parinirvana. So Ananda said, okay. And then the Buddha says, you see those two Sala trees over there? The tall ones with the stone couch. That is where I'm going. I want you to prepare that for me. I already have this beautiful golden robe that was given to me by those very kind people we met on our walk here. And Ananda said, yes, I see it's glowing, and your skin is translucent. There is an aura about you. It is incredible. And he, for a moment, just looks at the Buddha in awe and in reverence and bowed. Buddhang saranam gacchami. And then he goes off to prepare this space for the Buddha. And the Buddha lay down on his right side in the lion's posture, resting one foot upon the other, and mindfully and clearly comprehending. The twin Sala trees broke out in blossoms. They rained upon the body. Thousands of them came falling, thousands. And what very beautiful perfume pervaded the air. The essence of sandalwood, the mandava flowers started to fall. And the flowers from the Sala trees just rained down on the Buddha, blessing the Buddha and telling all of us we are at a very, very auspicious time here. A significant event is going to happen. Be present in this experience. Be open to receive. Be open to connect. And as the Buddha lay, he lay on his right side. The celestial mandava flowers kept falling from, and the sandalwood powdered from the sky rained down upon the body of the Tathagata. Heavenly voices and heavenly instruments made music from and were heard in the air and felt on the faces of the people present. And the Buddha said, the Tathagata is respected, worshipped, honored. Whatever bhikkhu or bhikkhuni, layman or laywoman, abides by the Dharma, lives uprightly in the Dharma, walks the way of the Dharma. These are the people who will feel connected to this event. And when the Buddha was lying on the couch with the Sala trees and the flowers, the blossoms falling down, he had his head to the north, and he was lying in a very relaxed, the Parinirvana position. I'm sure you've all seen it on the right side, the head on his hands, and just resting there. And he was aware of everything that was going on. He's a Buddha, so because he was old and frail, his mind, as I said, was crystal clear. And he saw all the bhikkhus and bhikkhunis. They came in and sat in front of him. And he bowed to them as they prostrated to him. And he connected to all of them as if they were brothers and sisters, because they were brothers and sisters, and they had walked the walk in India together, preaching the Dharma, helping people. The qualities of kindness and generosity pervaded the air, and the villagers and townspeople responded to the Dharma with love and kindness. They were met with love and kindness, and they wanted to help. And the Buddha shone his beautiful qualities of awareness, inherently compassionate, and helped people wherever he went. So all behind the bhikkhus and bhikkhunis, the people started to arrive from the villages, Kushinara, other places in the Malas provinces, men, women, children, all lined up, and the clans went and bowed from each village and town, and the Buddha blessed them and connected with their hearts, and they felt this beautiful love that pervaded the air enter their being, and they felt transformed in that very moment. But as this was going on, you know, there were other people coming. There were the villagers, the bhikkhus and bhikkhunis, and then there was the arrival of the gods and goddesses, the devas. And the gods and goddesses, the devas, beings of light, arrived from the heavens and from the underworld. The dwarfs and goblins and all sorts of other creatures arrived into this occasion. And at one stage, one of the bhikkhus, Upana, was fanning the Buddha. And one of the gods said to the Buddha, please tell the bhikkhu to move away, I can't see you. And we are here for the teachings. And we, just like these human beings, would like to feel connected and be able to see you. So the Buddha called Upana and said, would you please move away? These devas and gods and goddesses and other beings of light that are here, they can't see because you're in front. So he moved away, and then they took their place. And in loads of ways, they were in a realm of their realm, but they were actually in the event, because at this event, the Parinirvana of the Buddha, time stopped, realms intermixed, the cosmos was exploding in many ways. The significance of this occasion was not lost on everyone present. Strange things, you might think, were happening. Even from this land, the Tuatha descended in a mist, and the mist fell gently on the Buddha's face, and he smiled, and they took their place in homage to the Tathagata. And from many lands, many devas, many gods and goddesses, many beings that the Buddha had been teaching the Dharma came for one last teaching. And there were some hungry ghosts, some people pulling their hair out, and strange looking deformed kind of people, creatures who were just really, really upset and devastated because they felt they needed the Dharma for their own liberation, and they were stuck in hell realms because the shadow is large. But in this event, the shadow was retreating. So all of this was happening, and thunder rolled, and lightning in the sky, and the stars descended, and the sun shone, and everything was rolling and moving, and the Buddha was lying, listening with the big long ear, listening to the bhikkhus and bhikkhunis, those who have traveled the paths, those who are following the path of the Noble Eightfold Path and are moving towards enlightenment. And he looked at the bhikkhunis and the bhikkhus and remembered in the bhikkhunis his mother, his a foster mother, his aunt, Mahajapapati. And she had came with 500 or more women from the palace to join his disciples. And he remembered that moment of her coming and him hesitating, largely to do with that it was going to be harder, he thought, for women who had lived that luxurious life to commit to the practice. But he knew that there is no difference between male or female in terms of enlightenment, becoming an awakened human being. And then he relented and said, okay, I have to let go and let my aunt join. They are dedicated practitioners. And now there were many, many more bhikshunis. There was no difference between women's practice and men's practice. They were all together committed, dedicated to the Dharma, to the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha. And then he heard the big sigh of Ananda. And he was feeling sad. He was saying, how am I going to live without the Buddha? He who is so kind. Because they had been together 50 years. He had attended to the Buddha. They were friends, cousins. But in some ways, even though he was a practitioner and knows the teachings, when it comes right down to it, losing someone that you're really close to is a really difficult thing. And when it comes to the moment, yeah, there's a bit of fear that comes up and sadness. And the Buddha heard him, and he asked one of the other disciples, go tell Ananda to come here and we can chat. And Ananda was saying, I am still but a learner and still have to strive for my own perfection. But also my master, who is so compassionate towards me, is about to pass away. And the Buddha said, Ananda, do not grieve, do not lament, for have I not taught from the beginning that with all that is dear and beloved, there must be change, separation and severance of that which is born, come into being, compounded and subject to decay. And then he praised Ananda. He praised 4 qualities. His joy in the Dharma, his steadfastness, his commitment to serve, his loving kindness. He says, your whole heart in deed, word, and thought, graciously and pleasantly, this has been your service to me and the service to the Dharma. Great good you have gathered. Put forth energy on you too, and you will be free from the taints. And then he praised Ananda in front of the other disciples. So coming back to the grief of the gods, deities from space and earth, disheveled hair, weeping with uplifted arms, flinging themselves on the ground, rolled from side to side, lamenting too soon will the eye of the world vanish from sight. Deities free from passion, mindful and comprehending, impermanent are all compounded things. How could this be otherwise? And as all this was happening, the Buddha was radiating this golden light. He had this essence around him of beauty and peace and contentment. And the golden light was flowing from his being, and it stretched to the Sala trees, to the stone couch, to the bhikkhus, bhikkhunis, to the people, to the beings of light, to the suffering people, to everybody that was there and beyond. And this great feeling of contentment came upon the multitude that was there. They felt blessed and connected and felt the love of a Buddha's heart, the awakened heart, the bodhicitta, permeate the whole space. And they wept poignantly, wept a feeling of grief, but also in the feeling of beauty of this occasion. They felt presence. They felt that presence of being connected, that basic presence. And the Buddha, as always, is looking to help people, to ensure that the Dharma is moving, the wheel is moving, and people are being taught and getting connected when it's their time. And he always had his ear out with all of this beauty of connection going on and the golden light permeating around. And he said, you know, there are 4 places of pilgrimage that people will go to when the Tathagata passes. And the first one is the place that the Tathagata was born. So the place that the Tathagata was born is when his mother, Queen Maya, gave birth to Siddhartha at that time, who became the Buddha, standing in front of a tree, and died that same night. So what a way to enter the world. And the teaching of the 4 noble truths comes to mind. Oh, an avatar of dukkha. Look at this. What does that mean? And the second one was the place where the Tathagata became enlightened. It's the Bodh Gaya, the Bodhi tree. The place where the Tathagata became fully enlightened in unsurpassed, supreme enlightenment. In that particular event, as we know, Siddhartha went through a long time under the tree, working on the mind, where all the defilements started to fall away, and was met with the shadow of Mara, and transformed into the Buddha, transcended all that had gone in his past and moved on And the third one was where he set the wheel of the Dharma rolling. But those places, and there was a fourth place where he had a connection. It was when he was a child and he felt contentment when he was on the path towards enlightenment, doing aesthetic practices, and was pushing too hard in that way. And he had a memory of being relaxed, sitting under the rose apple tree. So in those places of pilgrimage, some of them are actual pilgrimages, the one in Lumbini and in Bodh Gaya, and now the one in Kusinara, the rose apple tree, I'm not quite sure where that is, but the key connection between these is trees. After his enlightenment, the Buddha spent 6 weeks looking at the tree that he sat under, that nourished him, that he went through all of the practices with. The tree of his birth, the rose apple tree, the Sala trees. And there's some sort of message for that for me about nature and beauty and stillness and intuition and connectedness, and this whole thing of everything is waiting for you if only you would stop and see. And trees are an expression of that. I just feel strongly about that. So that really has come up for me about this. And then the Buddha continues with, so Ananda, whoever goes on pilgrimage with his heart, his or her heart, established in faith, will be reborn in a realm of divine happiness. Well, going on a pilgrimage brings us into that realm of happiness because we are connected to the path of the Buddha who we follow. So the Buddha mentioned the places of pilgrimages to the people present. And then he moved on to look at something else. He looked at his disciples, the bhikkhus, the bhikkhunis, and he said 3 times, ask me any question about the Dharma, anything, whatever. Now is your time. The Tathagata is here. I am here to answer any question you have. And there was silence. And he asked again. Now is the time to ask, is there anything left unsaid that I didn't cover, that you'd like more clarification on? And there was silence. And then he said, anything? And then there was silence. And there was a pause. The moon was up. The stars were in the sky. The golden light was like a big ocean covering everything. All the devas and people were just wrapped in this warmth of this beauty. And there was rattling in the sky. And there was silence. And the Buddha said, all compounded things are subject to change. With mindfulness, drive on. And there was complete silence. There was complete love, open-hearted beauty, and beautiful silence. And then there was the roar. Buddham saranam gacchami. Buddham saranam gacchami. Buddham saranam gacchami.
Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Sadhu Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni